What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Yesterday, we did have that Nintendo Indie World Showcase, and I figured what I would do is just have a rundown, go over everything that was announced there pretty quickly, because there was actually quite a bit that looked good within that 15-minute presentation that they had. Also, we do have Bandai Namco, who's teasing a new RPG and has fans speculating all over the place as to what franchise this could be for, and Highguard. Yeah, we finally got the announcement yesterday, one that people were expecting, and it does make, of course, the entire industry once again reflect on live service and if it's really worth attempting much anymore. All of that and more. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button. Helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And of course, members for the channel do get Newswave early. If you would like to learn more about that, click the join button or link in the description down below. And we're going to start today with Nintendo and the NSO service with 3 games that have been announced going into it. And we can see this over on Nintendo's social media account, saying 3 classic titles are coming to Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo Switch on March 10th. So we have 2 Virtual Boy games. We have Mario's Tennis and Mario Clash. And for the Game Boy Advance, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, which, I mean, is kind of like, technically is a demake then of the Mario vs. Donkey Kong we have on the Switch now. Anyway, the game that I really looked at here and said, okay, cool, I'm trying that. Mario's Tennis. I mean, it's the game that I think of when I see the Virtual Boy. So yeah, I'm absolutely firing that one up. Mario Clash has some pretty cool like 3D depth effect stuff, but you can't beat Mario Tennis, where you turn it on and immediately Mario hits the ball at you and it looks like it's 3D. It's coming right at you, just in kind of like red wireframe setup. Still though, those are at least 2 fun games going into, I mean, what's a pretty small library for the Virtual Boy. These titles though will be available March 10th, so Mario Day, already kind of getting the festivities ready for their big 40th anniversary Mario Day event. Also, we did have Capcom with a Q&A for investors discussing all parts of their business, which is firing on all cylinders right now. But one answer in particular really made waves online, you can see. And it's actually the last part of the Q&A here, all the way at the bottom, where they say, as of the 3rd quarter, PC sales account for approximately 50% of total unit sales, and we expect this ratio to continue increasing. Accordingly, we will further strengthen our PC development framework. The technical expertise gained from addressing increasing program complexity and performance challenges in Monster Hunter Wilds will be applied to future title development. We know Monster Hunter Wilds has gone through it, and there's been some head-scratching stuff when it comes to development and patches that were needed, but as long as they are learning and improving, we see what's going on right now with Resident Evil Requiem. That game is very, very well optimized, and even on lower-end systems, it runs well, and it looks awesome. And Capcom leaning heavily into the PC side is what you would expect from a third-party publisher. And people are doing comparisons to PlayStation right now with this, and it's like, guys, Sony's trying to sell a console as well, a platform that Capcom also wants Sony to sell because they want to sell on the next PlayStation and also the current with the PlayStation 5. So not a one-to-one comparison, but Capcom absolutely taking advantage of that PC market makes sense, and it's great to see, because a strong Capcom, as we are observing right now, is a company that's just putting out game after game after game that are good. So great to see that. Definitely better than where they were like 10 years ago, where people weren't sure if Capcom was going to be able to make it. Oh, and we do have PAX East coming up at the end of this month, starting March 26th. And it appears Nintendo will indeed be in attendance. Now, we can see over on Go Nintendo, they have it confirmed with the co-show organizers ReedPop and Penny Arcade, as they did unveil the complete expo hall for PAX East 2026. And Nintendo is indeed in there. And this has people wondering, of course, what will Nintendo show off? And I mean, we still need to see the rest of this month, as this is all happening right at the end of March. So as people are speculating on the idea of, oh, there's a direct somewhere out there, Mario Day is coming up, they could announce some things that then get shown off there, but it's also very possible that they just show us games that are already out and it's more just an advertising venue for them. Maybe that 2D Yoshi game gets shown off there. Maybe it's playable. I mean, that could be kind of interesting, but I don't know if I'd go all out and be like, they're showing up with the new big 3D Mario game. We'll see, but I'm thinking, no, it's probably going to be stuff you already know about, maybe some stuff playable for the first time. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with that Nintendo Indie World Showcase that happened yesterday. It ran for like about 15 minutes or so, but in those 15 minutes, Nintendo did show off 18 different games. So you can already kind of do the math. It moved along fairly quickly. They also had spots where the developers were able to talk with the camera and kind of explain parts of their game, whether it's inspirations or even just different mechanics in the gameplay loop itself. But we'll start from the top here and go line by line with each and every game that was announced. And we'll start with Densh Attack. And this is an interesting one. I mean, it's this crazy on-rails bus racing grinding game. I don't know, it looks insane, but it's out June 17th. There is a demo that is available right now. My Little Puppy is a game that I'm sure is going to, it's going to get a lot of dog owners in the feels. I already saw comments around this one. It's inspired by the director's own corgi. So their own dog just inspiring this whole game. And you journey as a dog out of heaven to find his owner. It's coming out May 29th. Heave Ho 2, that's coming out summer 2026. Moonlighter 2, The Endless Vault 2026. Wudo, and you fill in these wooden scenes that they kind of animate and come to life as you go. That's out summer 2026. We have Mini Shoot Adventures, twin stick shooting adventure game. This one looks kind of cool, and it's available right now. So we had a couple of shadow drops here, by the way, coming out of this presentation. That's one of them there. The Midnight Walk, that's out March 26th. Rotwood, this is a roguelite brawler. It's available right now. Mixtape, that's May 2026. Blighted, it's a dark action RPG from studio behind Guacamelee and Nobody Saves the World. So a lot of talent there, fall 2026. Dead Zone Rogue, and I saw this and it looked kind of cool. I mean, I'm a fan of first-person shooters. It's kind of like I guess a sci-fi roguelite first-person shooter. You can squad up with friends. You can play it solo if you want. Even has mouse support on the Switch too. And it's out March 17th, so in 2 weeks that will be releasing. Then we have the sizzle reel. We have Grave Seasons, that's summer 2026. Outbound, April 23rd. Unrailed 2 Back on Track, May 2026. There's a demo out now for it. Tome 2, that's summer 2026. Inconveni, One Store, Many Stories, April 30th. Rataton, that's cool. It's like the spiritual successor to Patapon, but that's July 16th. And then the big closeout, the shadow drop, the awesome title, Blueprints. Fantastic game, completely recommended. I didn't think I would enjoy that game when it first came. It went into like PlayStation Plus, and I remember I downloaded it there. I was like, let's just see what this is. And then I get lost in the game, do a complete run, and then there's still so many questions around this title. There are still puzzles that people are trying to figure out, secrets to stumble across, and apparently there's still many of them out there that have not been discovered. So if you've been curious about this one, yeah, it definitely is a game worth checking out. Maybe look at some gameplay footage to see what you think before you jump into it. But even then, it's a game you kind of have to experience. It's one you've never really experienced ever before. But looking back on this presentation, I thought it was pretty good. It's what you expect going into an Indie World showcase. You're not going to get the crazy big AAA titles from big name publishers or anything. The idea is to see very unique and interesting titles that you would never expect to see. And that's exactly what happened here. I guess other than Blueprints, because I mean, it makes sense to have that go to the Switch too as soon as it can. Apparently there's gonna be a physical copy of that as well, by the way. I think IM8-bit is doing that. And they also said it's not going to be a game key card. It's all gonna be on the cartridge. So that's one to keep an eye out for as well. But overall, I was fairly happy with this Indie World showcase. I guess we'll talk letter grade later on because that was the poll. Next up, let's talk about Highguard. As it has now been announced, it is indeed shutting down. This we can see was shared over on their social media account. Today, we're sharing difficult news. We have made the decision to permanently shut down Highguard on March 12th. So in 8 days, it'll be shutting down. Since launch, more than 2 million players stepped into Highguard's world. You shared feedback, created content, and many believed in what we were building. For that, we are deeply grateful. Despite the passion and hard work of our team, we have not been able to build a sustainable player base to support the game long term. Servers will remain online until March 12th. We hope you'll jump in with us one more time to show your support and get those final great matches in while we still can. The team is excited to release one final game update to enjoy in the remaining life of the game. This is kind of strange, but I guess it's what they were working on already, and they probably just got the news, honestly, this day, like yesterday, that they're shutting down. Like, put the post out. Well, we saw this update. All right, we'll go ahead and push that as well. They'll be adding a new warden, a new weapon, account level progression. Probably could have used that at launch. I mean, you're gonna, I guess, track your progress for the next week before it's just okay. And then skill trees. Probably could have used that too. Full patch notes are coming, and we're targeting tonight or tomorrow morning for a patch release. From all of us at Wildlight, thank you for playing, for supporting us, and for being part of Highguard's story. And what a story it was. I mean, when it was first shown, Jeff Keighley was super confident in this thing. They closed the entire Game Awards with it, and apparently it was his call to do that. It wasn't necessarily that the developers here, studio, and Tencent, this is what we find out, who was backing them. Well, it was their idea to pay extra money to be the closeout. No, that's just how they organized the show. And I guess Jeff really liked this game, which is odd because when I played the game, it just wasn't very fun. It was kind of boring for 80% of it until there's a raid and then you jump to the base and all of a sudden it's close quarters combat, and the shooting was good. I was fine with that. It's just everything else around it wasn't great. It almost got too unique for its own good at times, where it felt like it was a bunch of game types, a bunch of live service games mashed together into some weird like concoction. And unfortunately, it had such a high bounce rate where people played a few matches and they left. And that's what they're saying. They were unable to sustain a player base. People are already saying, why are you guys shutting down? You're not going to give it, I don't know, half a year even? Well, we know that their funding was pulled by Tencent. We've already seen that story. And if you look on, again, SteamDB comes up all the time, but that is at least, it gives us at least an idea as to the health of the game. And it wasn't looking good. It was generally under 1,000 people playing. And since it's free to play, you do need people spending money to bring in revenue to then pay the people who are doing these updates. That's the biggest issue with live service, is if it comes out of the gate, even if it's strong, you got to be able to keep the people. And then if it turns out you can't and you start losing, say, your backing with Tencent or like your finances, there's a cascading effect because people probably don't want to keep putting the time into a game that's destined to eventually shut down. And with Highguard, it lasted, a month and a half? And while this should be just another example outright for the gaming industry to pay attention to, I don't think it will be. And we're just going to see more and more attempts at live service games. And look, with Highguard, most of us saw right away what it was, and we said, ooh, that's not going to go over well. And even with that in mind, though, it was free to play, I thought, well, okay, they'll probably get a few months out of it, like 4 or 5 months, and then maybe it'll go. No, it was literally a month and a half, and the gaming industry really does need to take notes. If you're going to attempt a run at the live service space, whatever you have better be really, really good, and it better be unique. It can't just be unique, because Highguard attempted that. It's also got to be really, really good, because you're working to pull people away from heavily established live service games that some may have years in, and maybe it's just that social experience where they jump on with their friends, don't think twice about it, throw maybe an hour into it, and then they're done for the night. Maybe they don't feel like learning a whole new game with their friends, getting everyone to buy it or download it and sign up. And it's just kind of that frictionless experience that has just been built up over time. Difficult to break into this scene. Might have been worth it to instead have Highguard. So they keep saying these are the developers behind Titanfall 2. And you think about that and you go, man, that had a really good campaign. What could they have done if they just made a really good first-person shooter campaign and just sold it? And that was would it have been a problem if they did that from the creators of Titanfall 2? New campaign, and people got really excited, ends up being really good, and they sell 5 million copies. Would that have been the end of the world? We didn't make all the money. No, I mean, you do what people have done in the past. You then take that money, and you make another one, and you sell it. And then you make another one, you sell that. It's just these games that these studios want to last forever, and it's just not realistic in the current climate where people's time is already taken up by life, and then probably a live service game next to it. Next up, let's talk about Xbox Game Pass games for March. We did get Wave 1 revealed. This was right after we had talked about, it seemed like Cyberpunk was going into the service with the email tease that Xbox put out on social media. But now we can see this page here. And starting at the top, these games are available now. Final Fantasy 3. And then Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. So Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was a Game of the Year nominee, from last year. So definitely worth at least downloading, checking out, and seeing what you think. Moving up, though, to today, March 4th, to a T. That's Cloud, Xbox Series X, S, and PC. We have EA Sports F1 25, Cloud, Xbox Series X, S, and PC. March 5th, Planet of Lana 2, Children of the Leaf, Cloud, Xbox Series, handheld, and PC. Moving to March 10th, Construction Simulator, cloud, console, and PC. We have Cyberpunk 2077, cloud and console. On March 12th, Hollow Knight Silksong, that's actually joining the other tiers, so it was already an Ultimate, right? But now it's with Game Pass Premium. That's where this gets confusing, and I do hope that if they consider restructuring Game Pass, they make it a bit more straightforward, because it's a tough read and even tougher to figure out exactly what to take away from something like Hollow Knight Silksong being on this list and having to read the fine print and stuff. Anyway, then we have March 17th, DreamWorks Gabby's Dollhouse, ready to party. Cloud, Xbox Series, and PC. I mean, the big one here is people are going to pay attention to Cyberpunk 2077. Although Planet of Lana 2, that I think is an interesting release to have drop in on day one. And then Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, again, very, very strong title going into the service. Final Fantasy 3, though, might be worth a history lesson there for some of the younger generation. Worth downloading and checking that one out as well. But those are the Wave 1 releases for Game Pass, and we'll look to see what they have for us later on in the month for Wave 2. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Bandai Namco, as they are currently teasing a big RPG reveal for this week. This was posted over on their social media account, where they say, coming soon, a new RPG from Bandai Namco. More to come March 5th. That's 2 p.m. Pacific, and that'd be then 5 p.m. Eastern time. And the video they show here, it's hard to tell exactly. So the art style looks very realistic, I guess. Well, more realistic than what we've seen with, say, a Tales of game, all right? So people are immediately speculating that this could be, I saw Sword Art Online come up. It would be strange that this wouldn't be a Tales game, although I guess this could also just be a brand new IP. You do see a quick flash of a character with a sword and a shield on their back. And even in the beginning, you have the scenery, but then there's a tower in the background. And they just have the March 5th reveal for this RPG. I do think Tales would make sense. The last one we had was Tales of Arise in 2021. And you feel like it would be ready to go later this year for a new Tales game, so a 5-year cycle. I know Tales of Arise is going to the Switch 2 in May, but it doesn't really matter. These Tales games come out all over the place with remasters and remakes and stuff. A lot of times we're talking about, like, what's the next big mainline one, and that would be Tales of Arise to, I guess, 2026, if that's indeed what they have here. I guess a new IP would be kind of interesting just to see what ideas they have, but for now, I'm going to put my money on a new Tales game, but we should find out here in a couple of days. And before we go to the comment of the day, we'll take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I ask, give the Nintendo Indie World Showcase a grade. Okay, A, some people really liked it, 7%. B got 30%, C leading the way at 39%, and D at 25%. I think I'm right there at C, only because nothing really blew me away. I do think it's cool to see something like Blueprints, of course, get that final spot, as there'll be people probably checking it out and it having that nice shadow drop excitement there. But I mean, I guess looking through, Dead Zone Rogue, that's out in March 17th. I'll check that one out to see what it is exactly. And Mini Shoot Adventures, the twin stick shooting adventure game, that's kind of cool. But that's the thing, nothing that really jumps off the page like, whoa, I gotta check this out. So because of that, yeah, it's kind of like average, I guess C. But for an indie showcase, again, it's about what I expected. Nothing too crazy, but a lot of interesting looking indie titles to look forward to. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Samuel. It says, why do people care about arbitrary review scores again? Well, to be honest, it's because games are $70. That is the biggest thing. You want as much information as possible. Now, some people, of course, take the review scores and run around all excited with them as if they're trophies. I mean, look, if you're on the development team, you absolutely should be doing that because, again, the other thing with Metacritic scores, we've heard about this in the past, not necessarily saying that's Koei Tecmo or Game Freak or the Pokemon Company. Metacritic scores have at times like dealt with people's bonuses at some of these studios. So in that case, yeah, they care about an arbitrary number. But I just think for a lot of people, you don't buy every game that comes out. You're going to pick and choose, and now more than ever, be very careful, very selective around games. So yeah, I mean, honestly, looking at a review score that comes in at a 75 versus one that comes in at a 88 or 89, that is going to probably sway your thought process on if you were going to put the money out for it or not. So I will say, though, with Pacopia, I mean, it's Pokemon. I'm sure many people in that fandom have already decided that they are buying the game, but maybe you pull people in who hear that, oh wow, this is actually a really good Dragon Quest Builders type game with Pokemon. Maybe I will check that one out. Or you just hear that it's like super high quality and there's some interesting ideas and you know, okay, maybe I will get that Switch 2 release then this week. So yeah, that's really what it comes down to, is just more information for the customer to decide where they want to put their money. Also, let's face it, Metacritic scores at the end of the year certainly influence games that are getting Game of the Year nominations versus ones that are left out. I'm sure there are many people out there who sort by Metacritic right away without even thinking about it and just pick the top 4 or 5 and they're automatically in. But actually for the Game of the Year madness, we do go by review scores and then number of reviews. So yeah, it all kind of plays into that at the end of the year. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below, but everything we talked about here today. If you missed yesterday's Newswave, I'll leave it up here on a card. Or maybe you want to hear more about how physical media is making a comeback. I did an entire video detailing a recent report, and I'll leave that right below. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.